What is Land Above, Sea Below, and is it worth your money? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to be telling you in this review. Land Above, Sea Below is basically a tile-based puzzle game that is very similar to Dwarf-O-Mantic. So if you like Dwarf-O-Mantic, if you like these type of city builders, tile placement games, you will like this game. However, I want to say this, that I believe that it does not compete very well in its niche. I do think that the game is fun in certain ways, but I'll be explaining in this short review why I feel like it does have some weaknesses that hold it back from greatness. So one of the first things I want to touch on is the graphics and audio presentation. I think this is one of the strongest parts of the game. I think the audio is amazing. The music feels very atmospheric, very relaxing, but also stimulating, and I really like the OST and sound design in this game. The graphics are really beautiful. They have kind of a fall-like aesthetic. If you like the autumn and you like kind of like fall Thanksgiving scenery, you're going to really like this. The Tree of Falls, the large trees that are actually in the center and the heart of your island, are extremely beautiful, and the game's visual design is very clean, minimalistic, and I really like the tile-based structure. So I thought that in terms of graphics and audio presentation, the game did extremely well. So next, I want to touch on gameplay and game progression. The gameplay in Land Above, Sea Below is actually quite nice, and the game progression is pretty strong. So the gameplay basically revolves around you placing tiles of different types nearby each other, and you get ability bonus points based on where you place these tiles. So if you place a tile and let's say it touches 4 other tiles of a same type, that land will actually raise up, starting at 3 and getting stronger depending on how many bonus modifiers you get. See, the ideal goal is to get as many times 4, times 5, and times 6 multipliers as you can. This can be very challenging as you only have a set number of days in seasons, and the seasons system is basically the time frame you have until the water level rises. So in the traditional mode for this game, the Eternal Fall mode, you are basically racing against the clock. And even though there's no time limit on when you can actually place the tiles, once you place a tile, unless you have a specific ability card, it is irreversible. So that is something you really need to think about, and every decision does feel impactful. However, I will say this, that one wrong move, one mistake can be quite disastrous, because once you lose a tile to the water level rising, it can really hinder your later game plans. So you need to really think before you place each tile, which does give a bit of gravity to your decisions. But I do think it does undermine a little bit of the relaxing aesthetic of this game. So overall, I think the gameplay is quite good. The progression, you unlock more tiles as you go on throughout the seasons. So the longer you survive, the more tiles you get, and eventually you'll be managing multiple Trees of Falls, which the Tree of Fall is kind of the castle, or let's say in a chess analogy, the king that you're trying to protect. So you're always trying to raise up that Tree of Fall away from the water level as much as possible. So I do think the gameplay and game progression overall is quite strong, although there is difficulties with its pacing, and I do think that there are certain elements that actually detract from the relaxing nature of the experience. So now let's go on to game modes and replayability. So there are 3 main game modes in this game. The first one that you're going to be starting the game in is the Eternal Autumn mode. That is what I would consider to be the main gameplay mode. The second mode is going to be a sandbox mode. This is very similar to Minecraft creative mode and is quite fun. In this mode, you don't have the rising sea mechanic, so you can basically customize your island, build huge islands with a bunch of different tiles. I will say that you are locked to whatever tiles that you have unlocked in the Eternal Autumn mode, so it kind of makes sense to play the Eternal Autumn mode, see how far you can get, and then jump into Sandbox. But for people that are really creative and just want a really relaxing gameplay experience, maybe at the end of a long workday, this mode can be a lot of fun. And then finally, we get to Challenge Mode. Challenge Mode, I think, is a really, really cool option. And what you do in Challenge Mode is you basically have an Eternal Autumn mode, but the idea is to get the highest score possible in 10 turns. So I think this is a really great option, as this generally takes you about 8 to 10 minutes. So you can have really a nice short play session. And for my honest opinion, I think this game shines in the 10 to 30 minute play session range. If you play longer than that, the music can get a little monotonous and the gameplay loop can kind of get a little stale. But if you're playing for 10 to 30 minutes, maybe as you get home after work, I think this can be a really, really great game. So challenge mode is, in my opinion, one of the best modes in the game. Unfortunately, it's not all sunshine and rainbows on Land Above, Sea Below. If you look in the options menus, it is basically nothing. There are 5 options. You have language, quality, resolution, display mode, and VSync. The resolution doesn't even go up to 4K, nor does it go to ultra-wide resolution. So 21 by 9 and 32 by 9 are basically out of luck. The display modes are very, very limited, and honestly, I was shocked and a little bit appalled at these settings and options. It's an obvious console port kind of situation, and I was very, very disappointed. So for my final thoughts on Land Above, Sea Below, I think that this ultimately comes down to what you're expecting to get out of it and pricing. Now, I tried to contact the developers and ask on the Reddit and Discord about the pricing for this game, but I got no response, so I'm not sure if the devs haven't decided. However, there are a lot of games like Pile Up that are under $10 that are exactly like this that I have a review on, as well as probably what I would consider to be the top tier game in this type of niche, which is Dwarf-O-Matic, which is selling at $13.99. So unless this game comes underneath $10, I really can't recommend it, because I do believe you're only going to get maybe 10 to 20 hours of playtime at the very best case scenario. Don't expect to be playing this for months and months. I just don't think the depth is there. It is really fun, and if you can find it on sale under $10, I think it's a great idea to get. But just have tempered expectations. The music can get old after a while, and the gameplay loop can be a little bit frustrating. The difficulty can be a little bit high, and I think that a lot of people are going to get bored around the 10 to 15 hour mark. So that's my final thoughts. Tell me what you guys think in the comments, and if this helped you, please hit that like, please hit that subscribe. Less than 1% of my viewers are subscribed. I do a lot of content on a variety of RPG games, strategy games, RTS games, and I'll be doing a lot more reviews just like this one. Thanks again, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.